you also need to keep in mind, where your audience is. Just because a platform might be good to host a community doesn't mean that you should do it. You should also see whether your, the community that you're forming, the members that you're forming it for, are they users of that platform or not?
What I want to ask is the question from Amit, where he has asked, how do you connect with all other team members? Generally, it is difficult to manage and collaborate with people on the same track. Roughly, what I understood from it is, what is your process of, let's say, of collaborating with other team members? So, like you mentioned, you are working closely with the content team, you're working closely with the graphic team.
Right.
Do you plan these communications on a daily level? Do you plan these communications on a weekly level? Take us through those communication channels and the structure of those sort of collaborations with these different teams.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, there's a in terms of, if I have to answer your question of in how much advance do we actually do the planning, it happens on a monthly basis. We also make plans. So we set goals on a quarterly basis for ourselves. Everybody has their own KPIs. The content team has their own KPIs. I have my own goals, and so does the design team. So the idea is for us to, together move towards achieving our individual goals also. So we set plans on a quarterly basis, in the sense that, I set goals for myself that by the end of July, because that will be the end of the quarter. So for the next 3 months, by the end of July, I have to reach this particular, number on the Facebook group, and I have to, maybe reach this particular number on the WhatsApp groups. So I have to slowly work towards reaching those numbers. I have to, represent Instamojo on other networks that I'm part of, even LikeMinds being one of the platforms that I'm part of, representing Instamojo, talking about the company, and, similarly other networking groups that I'm part of, where I'm talking to other people, and, trying to understand if, anybody from that particular group will be a relevant, addition to our groups over here. So that's how I, go ahead with, multiple goals that I have. Members thing is just one of the goals that I have, but there are other goals also in terms of, maintaining the engagement rate. And now we've also expanded internationally, which we'll be talking about a little later. Yeah, and similarly, I work with the teams on a daily basis. We have, we have to catch up every day to understand who is working on what. And some of the things that are planned in advance are, let's say if there's a sale happening, or if there's an event happening, we know for sure that is going to happen at a certain date, in this particular month. So we plan out our creatives and we plan out our promotion strategies in advance on the basis of, we basically backtrack from there. I think the question was around if it's challenging or not, or how exactly do we go about it. There are certain challenges, of course, because everybody has their own work. It's not like, the designers are just sitting to make designs for me. They also have they're working on multiple other things, they have bigger projects to work on, and even the content team has their own goals, and they're working on, churning out content, writing articles which will help, people in the e-commerce field, or people who want to get into that field. So everybody has their own work. So we have to be mindful of the bandwidth. We have to give them enough time, in the sense that, again, like I said, if you get an idea today, just be prepared that, that the creative might not be ready the same day. You might need to take a day for it. You might have to run it the next day because they don't have the time, they don't have the bandwidth. So it's just mostly, challenges like those, but those are very seldom. But yeah, I don't think it's a big challenge to work with teams together, especially when there's a structure in place. We meet every day. We are working remotely now, so that I think is pretty challenging for most people. That sometimes there's an internet connection problem, and we have to meet every day at the same time so that we discuss everything. But had we been going to office, that would have been a different ball game altogether. Right.
Awesome. A follow-up question, another question that someone has asked is are you planning to move on a platform like Discord Can you also talk about like where is your community today hosted and like how is it structured? And are you planning to take your community to a different platform at a later stage?
Yeah, I mean, that's a goal that I've set for myself as well, where I would want to sort of look at other platforms as well. We are currently not on Discord. We are currently on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Telegram. And I'm not sure if I covered that slide already or if it's up ahead, but there's also like when you speak about like community management as a whole, I think the two I would say limitations also and challenges that you might face is one would be platform based and the other would be like member based, maybe like challenges that you would face with people or the members of the group. Currently we are on Facebook. Personally, I've noticed that the engagement is not as high as it is on WhatsApp, because I think it comes back to the the impersonal communication part of it all. On Facebook, I think it's again, it's like a social media platform where everything is out in the open and conversations are happening in the open. So maybe people aren't very comfortable putting out their concerns on like an open platform like that. So on WhatsApp, however, the engagement is the highest, and we have 3 groups right now where we have I think all 3 groups are almost full. So we have over 600 members on WhatsApp itself, and the engagement rate is really high because again, I think it's like a messaging platform, right? So people find comfort in just responding to a message. If somebody's posted a question, they find it very easy to respond to that compared to like a Facebook. And similarly on Telegram is like a very, I mean, I am personally not a fan of Telegram, but there are communities which are thriving on Telegram. But what I have noticed in my personal experience is Telegram is a very weird mixture of Facebook and WhatsApp. You have like on Telegram, you can create a channel and you can have a group attached to the channel. So that's how the communication happens there. And on Telegram also, I personally, I use it mostly as a broadcasting channel, wherein, when we're writing blogs or we have some like a news article to share or like basically like broadcasting, information, we don't put out content much over there, which is very conversational, because that doesn't happen as much. We see a lot of success with conversational content on WhatsApp, but not so much on the other platforms. So I think, like as I was saying, like, the 2 limitations that you might run into is, a platform-based limitation and a member-based limitation. But at this point, I am personally also researching and trying to look at platforms that we can move on to. You also need to keep in mind, where your audience is. Just because a platform might be good to host a community doesn't mean that you should do it. You should also see whether your, the community that you're forming, the members that you're forming it for, are they users of that platform or not? So from our research, we've seen that our users don't use Discord all that much. There are not many who are on Discord. There are not many who are on Reddit. So those platforms are not a focus area for us. Maybe we won't be focusing on those platforms for a while, at least till the time we see a little more traction from our members or from our user group in those particular platforms. Like technically, the role of every brand community manager should be to be able to create a strong digital community. And like personally for me, that's what I've aimed at doing, and for it to act as a bridge between the brand and the users. But as I said, like that's why I'd initially mentioned in my intro as well that I've worked at so many places as and mostly like on the edge of like the creative roles. Like I was doing some ad copywriting, I was doing some graphic designing. So all of that has finally it comes in handy for me now, because as a community manager there are many things. You'll have to don many hats probably at a time. You'll have to become a writer, you'll have to become a designer if you don't have like a dedicated design team, or if you do also, that's great, but it's always good to have some design knowledge as well. So all of that has helped me now. But if I had to list down these things, I would say, the main KRA, like, do I talk about the metrics, or do I talk about, what the responsibilities would entail?
I think, metric will be better, because that will give a direction to your responsibilities.
Correct,
you can start with metric, and then you can maybe very, very quickly talk about what do you do to sort of achieve those metrics.
Right. So at Instamojo, the three main metrics that we look at is, first is, of course, the number of members across the groups. As I also mentioned, that I'm part of many other groups, and I'm networking with people and talking to them and trying to understand, where exactly most of the members are when it comes to, the e-commerce field, because that's where Instamojo is, centrally like located. So one of the main KPIs or KRAs, whatever you would want to call it, is to find new members and try and increase the number of members in the communities, as that is also a goal for me. The second thing would be to keep the engagement rate up, and somebody I think also asked for the formula. If somebody can write it down maybe, but the formula basically is the number of active members divided by the total members into 100. So that will give you the engagement rate. What can be the strategies to keep the audience engaged? Two most important things to keep in mind when you're curating or creating content for your audience is to essentially understand who is in the group, as we've already discussed about it. And the other important thing is which platform you are on. Like for example, on Facebook, you have multiple options which are available to you on Facebook itself. You can create polls, you have other interactive posts also that they've introduced very recently, where you can ask people to comment and post pictures. Like they can post pictures as comments, so that acts as a carousel. So there are many interactive elements that are available on each of the platform. Again, WhatsApp being the least helpful on this front again, but it has its own benefits. So two important things: who's your audience and what platform you're on. And again, like for example, like I said, in my experience, I've seen Facebook does well with broadcasting content, conducting polls, and doing other promotions that you have. Whereas on WhatsApp and Telegram, again being a mixture of both, but WhatsApp and Telegram, you can have like conversational content also go up, and you can tailor your content like that. So since our groups mostly consist of small business owners, or other people who would want to eventually own their own business, some strategies that have worked in my tenure over here that I've seen is keeping the conversations very simple, which is easy for everybody to one, understand, and two, participate also. Like of course, it's if somebody has a question which is very technical, you ideally should address it, because that somebody else also could have that question, and it's good to have these kind of tool related or platform related questions answered in the public forum, because if somebody else runs into that problem, they already know the solution. So that obviously helps. But when you're initiating a conversation, or you're putting out content by yourself, that's when I would personally say, like, again, it might differ from community to community, but from my experience, I have seen that for Instamojo, the simple conversations help a lot, because that sort of encourages people to participate also, because it's not a very difficult thing to do. And the second thing would be, what I do is I share content that adds value to their journey, their business, and their queries and stuff like that. So that's when the content team actually helps me a lot. They write blogs, they write articles, they write guides, which help a lot of these sellers understand how they can scale their business, how they can structure their online store, how they can go about selling a certain specific product. Like if somebody wants to set up a clothing store online, there's a proper stepwise guide for that. So, when I'm able to share that again, it's helping them also, and even other people who probably already own a store or probably want to start a store, it helps them as well. So educational content does well for Instamojo, because there are people willing to learn, and that is one of the main core agendas of our community as well, that we help them on their journey, and we help them gain knowledge about how exactly they can scale up a small business. The other thing that we do a lot in Instamojo is we host a lot of webinars, and we speak to we invite various business influencers, business coaches to talk, and these are community specific webinars. They are only for the community members. We host it on our Instamojo Facebook group and page, where we invite like a business leader, somebody who's had an established business, or somebody who's like we invite coaches also to sort of talk about a certain topic like digital marketing or something else. So that also adds value to the community and also to the members of the community. And I think the last thing would just be to engage with them on a regular basis, not just on the group, but even offline or privately, because I get a lot of phone calls also from many community members, and I speak to them, and they often ask me for like advice on if they want to set up their Instagram page also, for that matter, not even Instamojo related. They sometimes have questions around social media, because they've seen me share so much. They know that I am one of the admins and I work with Instamojo, so they often call me, and they feel comfortable talking to me about their business strategy and stuff like that. Okay, this is something we can do, and I also genuinely give them advice as much as I can, because if there's something which is out of my sort of skill set, I tend to not tell them, because that's not my expertise. But something that I have a good understanding of, I obviously give them genuine advice, saying that this is something that you should do. So overarching some general pointers, these are things that I follow to keep the engagement up, and this is generally what I do on Instamojo communities.
Any last sort of minute pointers if you want to give for everyone?
One very important thing that I learned is also one misconception that I'd heard quite a lot when I had begun as a community manager, was that you're an extrovert, it'll be easy for you to do this. I don't necessarily think that a community manager has to be an extrovert. There are there might be introverted people also who might be comfortable, talking to people. And considering communities, we are talking about online communities here, you don't really have to be, physically present anywhere. And I personally feel like that's a misconception. That's not entirely true. And the other thing also that, I had also read, and I'd also discovered it personally as well, is that community management is like you'll have to maintain a very good balance of using your brains and your heart. You have to apply those skills, and you'll have to also at the same time be very empathetic. You can't let either of the sides, get too heavy, because then that'll be a problem. But it'll have to be a mix of both. You can't just be like super analytical and, I'm just going to apply, like these, what do you call, basically you'll have to be a little empathetic as well. As I'd started the conversation, you'll have to be a little empathetic, empathize with the members, actually listen to them. Don't pretend to listen to them, actually listen to them, see where they're at, see what they need help with, and then actually use your brains and see how you can actually, help them. And also because you have your own goals, so you have to achieve that as well. So, it's a good mix of both. That is one, if I can, that is one advice I would give to everybody, that, try and maintain a good balance of both.
Thanks a lot, Nikhil. Really, really appreciate you spending so much time and, very openly sharing your learnings and sharing your challenges. It takes a lot of courage to, not just share your learnings, but share your challenges. And I'm so happy we could see that coming from you. When we spoke for the first time, since this is the first session, I think you've set a very good benchmark for our future sessions. And I really look forward to, increasing the bar from here. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and rest of the week, and see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody.